People who are overwhelmed cannot add one more thing to their plate and cannot then be asked to change the world.
Hi, I'm Professor Leah Ruppanner. As a sociologist, I've made it my life's mission to take down every ridiculous gender myth out there. Like, do pretty people get paid more, or are women better multitaskers? This is MissPerceived.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to MissPerceived. I want to tell you that my book, Drained, Reduce Your Mental Load to Do Less and Be More, is out in the world. Have you gotten a copy? Do you love it? You can get it everywhere. I literally audiobook, Amazon. I even found it on Spotify the other day. So it's out. My best friend keeps sending me drafts and drafts of the book that he keeps finding, copies of the book that he's finding in stacks and stacks around the world. And so if you find it anywhere or you see it somewhere, can you send me a photo? Can you ask your local library to get it? You don't even have to buy a copy, but just ask them to get it and see if they can give it out to the world. It's here, y'all. It is here and it's going so well. Just like a side note, one of the most beautiful things about it is I've worked on these ideas forever and ever and ever. And now all of a sudden they're out into the world and I get to see what resonates for you, what you like, what you don't like, what is interesting, what you hadn't heard before, what is making, as one woman said the other day, that made my shoulders drop because it felt like just by hearing and knowing the language that some of the mental load is lightening. This is my dream for you, that I can give you high quality information, high quality research, and you can feel lighter. You can understand the world you're living in and feel a little bit more ease and peace. And that is all I ask. So with that in mind, I want to talk to you today about one of the most core pieces of the book that I haven't shared yet on the podcast. And this is the mental load audit. This is the solution that comes through the book to help you to lighten your mental load. Now, when I was writing the book, I was trying to think about how do I tell people to solve and change the world? And I was writing things like, we need universal childcare and we need, to change our political systems. And I got some real harsh, real needed, real true feedback. And that came from my wonderful agents, Dara and Jenna, who said to me, girl, people who are overwhelmed cannot add one more thing to their plate and cannot then be asked to change the world. If people are right now in the darkest of moments, are trying to just make it through to the next day, and you're saying, change the world, run for government, change the policy context, it is so unfair. And this advice is so valuable to me. And actually, I've heard through and across a range of interviews and conversations I've had with women who are just we don't want to live in these worlds either, but we cannot be then asked to solve them. We are crushed by the weight of the inequality, the weight of the unfairness, the weight of the heaviness of the fact that caregiving is, difficult to access, difficult to do, expensive, and yet so key and critical to us as humans, so key to showing love for our families, so key to being that connecting point. I was in an interview with Monique von Laden last night. And one of the things she said is your legacy is going to come from the time you spend in the kitchen with your family. And I thought that was a really powerful comment about, of course, where do we want to spend our time and energy? So with that in mind and that very valuable critical feedback, what I started to do was try to figure out how do I develop a solution that can help lighten your mental load, that you can do easily, that you don't have to have a lot of time or energy to put into, but you can actually start to do in small baby steps and really feel a measurable and a meaningful difference in your life. And so it is with that spirit that I created this idea of the mental load audit. Now, I'm going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you also some of the caveat parts where you might get stuck and what other people have done to push through. So, for those of you who are new, the mental load is the emotional thinking work we do to keep our work, life, and family running. This is a definition that came through a research article with myself, Brendan Churchill, and Liz Dean, in which we use this as the core and key definition of the mental load and describe it as having three key characteristics. It's invisible. It's done entirely inside of your body. It's boundaryless. You carry it with you everywhere because it is internal and it's enduring. What I mean by enduring is that you are able, it doesn't end. This is tied to the love and care of the people you love, including yourselves. And so therefore, when does caring for people stop? It doesn't. This was what was described by many as the treadmill tasks, right? Like it keeps coming for me. One piece leaves and another comes in. So what I wanted you to do in the audit was I wanted you to get crystal clear on where your mental load energy is going. I want you to first start thinking about, are you in mental load burnout? Is that how you're living? Do you wake up in the morning with less energy than you feel like you can have to start the day? Do you sleep well? Do you have energy for opportunities? Do you have energy for emergencies? And then when you are engaged in tasks, when you're supposed to be present, do you find that your mental load is racing with all of the things you have to do? This again is in our assessment online. So if you go to lightenlab.com, I have a free assessment where I'm both asking you to kind of get a handle on your mental load spending across the 8 categories, but also I ask you about the mental load burnout. I ask you these questions, and those are the mental load burnout questions, right? So the first question is, are you in burnout? Are you burning through more of your energy than you have? That's where I want you to start in the audit. The next thing I want you to do is start to think about, how is your mental load being spent? Where is it going to the 8 different mental load types? Is it going to relationship hygiene? Is it going to magic making? Is it going to meta, thinking about what kind of world we're in? Is it going to ensuring your safety? Is it going to your life organization? And if so, how much? How much is going in each direction? Now, you are going to have to spend some mental load energy to make your life work. That is just a fact. The goal is not to abolish the mental load, but the goal is to get clear on the spend. So you need to see where it is going and what it is costing you. Imagine this is almost like opening up your bank account and seeing where your money is going. At first, this might be confrontational, it might be difficult, and it might be emotional. But if you're going to take control, you need to know where the spend is. Sometimes your mental load is being spent on things that are crediting. They bring you more energy. They're joyful. You love them. Sometimes they're being spent on things that are debiting. They actually cost you. Sometimes we have to do things that are debiting, but the question is, how much? And is it worth it, right? So the first kind of stage of the mental load audit is getting a handle on the spend. Where is it going? What is it costing you? And who's getting your energy? One of the things I heard from women was like they were giving mental load energy everywhere to everyone. So a percentage of my mental load energy is going to the gardener, a percentage is going to the school's teachers, the PTA, my friend that I met from college, someone I met the other day just to check in. They had mental load energy scattered across a range of people. Now, part of that is because you're told that you need to actually do that. You need to be kind and caring and considerate and communal. I want you to hold on to those values if those are your core values. But if you are doing that in part because you're worried people aren't going to like you or they're going to talk about you behind your back, let them. Let them talk about you, because guess what, girl? You're about to get your mental load energy aligned in strategic ways, and you're about to work towards your biggest dreams, goals, and ambitions. And not everyone is going to cheer you along the way, and not everyone gets to come along with you. And that is their loss, not yours. That's not a deficit of you, but that is a deficit for them. One of our key mental load categories that you will find if you do our assessment on lightenlab.com is people pleasing. Is your mental load to people pleasing high today? Sometimes that can be valuable if people pleasing is aligning you with your goals, dreams, and ambitions. But sometimes it is a total waste if you are trying to people please people who really don't deserve your attention, time, and energy. And that is the next part of the mental load audit, getting clear on who really deserves your energy and who needs to be put on the bench for a little while, or maybe just kicked off the field. I know that's hard for you to hear. For some of you, this feels like a violation of being kind. I know as women, we're taught to be nice to everyone. You don't have to be unkind about it. You're just not giving them your energy. That's the answer. Some of them will be on the bench. Some of them will be on the field, and some of them have to be evicted for now. Maybe they can come back later on, but not now. Okay. Figuring out the spend. The next thing I want you to do is start thinking about your dreams. Where do you want to be in 1, 3, and 5 years from now? What do you want to do? It can be as small as every day I want to be able to go for a walk, or I want to make sure that I get 8 hours of sleep every night, or I want to go on a trip with my friends, every once in a while, just to kind of blow off some steam. Or I want to go to London because I've never been to London. What a beautiful city it is, because I do love the Clash. What about that? Or even something like, I want to advance my career. I want to get a promotion. I want to run for president or prime minister. I will let you. I would love for you. I will support you. Put your hand up. We want you in the race. But I want you to get clear on your goals, because the next part of the mental load audit is to realign your spending. Sometimes we spend mental loads on things we love. These I call the mental load loves. Now I know on some level a mental load love, it sounds counterintuitive. So let's just call them mental loves. These are things that, they can be crediting, they can cost you, but you still want to invest in them. You still want to do it. And those are things you need to keep. There are mental load that are heavy that you don't want to do. You need to drop, delegate, or get rid of, right? That things that you need to cut. And then there's mental load mores. I call them mental load mores, of like things that you actually, if you're going to start working towards your goals, you need to give more of your mental load energy to. So I want you to get crystal clear on what's the spend, who deserves it, what are your dreams, goals, and ambitions, and how do you now start to think about your mental load energy as valuable? Things you love to do, things you need to do, things you want to give more energy to. And then I want you to start aligning your spending. I want you to start using this almost like a matrix in your brain of going, I am starting to think about, for example, whether my kitchen is a giant mess right now. And are people going to show up and judge me? And do they think that I'm actually a bad person because my kitchen is always a mess? My house is always a mess. I'm like describing my house right now. My kitchen is a mess. There's shoes everywhere. I don't know. People have dropped riding boots and drills and God, I can't even tell you what else is around my house. Like, it's always like weird stuff. I'm always like thinking like, where is this coming from? But my husband is always engaged in a project. It's like one project ends and then the next one begins. But this is his beautiful ADHD brain. He has like always something on the go, and it always makes our life better. But it means that I often find like nails and screws and a drill and a saw just anywhere in the house. So the question then is, I'll use this as an example, right? Is this aligned with my dreams, goals, and ambitions, right? It does a messy house. Like if my dream is actually to have a world-leading, world-class podcast, to have you, to change the world in terms of everyone is starting to think about their mental load as a key piece of their energy and resource. Plus, then you're spending your mental load on your biggest and wildest dreams and ambitions. And I think for me, if we can start to do this, we'll change the world. Little by little, step by step. If each of us moves towards our own passions, dreams, and purposes, we will live in a totally different world. This is my dream. Does in any of that, is within any of that, whether my kitchen is a mess? Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if my kitchen is a mess and someone will judge me. I don't know if that's going to derail me from my dreams, then yes, but it won't. So what do I care? And what that does is it gives me permission to not care. It gives me permission to box that out of my brain. Now, let me talk about my husband. His dreams, his goals are to give us a beautiful house and life, right? To work on the house and to fix it up and to change it and to make it beautiful and different. And he has incredible skills to do this, both in terms of like the creative vision, but then the ability to do it like physically. Like I always am like ham-handed with my hands. I'm dropping everything. I'm like very cerebral and very bad in the body. He is very good in terms of like his ability to do with his hands. So if I have that, and I know that those are his goals and dreams and ambitions, and then I find the screws and the saw and the whatever everywhere, instead of being mad at him for being so inconsiderate, how dare you and why are you leaving it everywhere? I know that actually this process of doing is really, really important to him. So he's thinking about how does he create a better space, a better life, a better world for us, for myself and my daughter. And I don't get that mad. I actually don't really get mad. I just organize his stuff and put it in a corner. I just like pick it up and put it in a pile in the corner, because I know for him that this stuff is actually the stuff. And it's not to make me angry because the house is dirty or messy or there's stuff everywhere. It's because he's really working towards his dream. And so I can be more forgiving in that. And I also can be more forgiving of myself because I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not an Instagram influencer with a beautiful space. So my house being perfect and pristine and beautiful, that doesn't matter either. I say within our family, like, we have more important things to do. And for my daughter too, what's her dream? It's not about whether the house is always perfect. Her dream is to be a marine biologist or, work a new job or grow or do all the things that teens do. And so these things become less weighty because I know, that social norms make them feel heavier, that this idea that I'm a bad person because my house is a mess is untrue. Everyone's house is a mess, and we're all pretty much good people. And I also know that my house being clean is not tied to my goals and my dreams. And I also know that the mess that comes in my house is because my husband is working towards his dreams. This is important to him. And so I can look at all those three pieces and know that none of it matters that much, or none of it's personal, or it's all strategic, or we're all doing what we're trying to do to actually create a better world for each other. And my goal at the end of this is for you all to be able to use the same logic. Where people get tripped up on this, I hear, is like, I'm going to have this fight with my partner that I've had a million times. And I'm saying to you, I hear that a lot. I know that. I know that this is really real and lived. And I'm saying two things to you. One is that if you can do this mental load audit all by yourself. You don't need to bring anyone else into it. You can get crystal clear and strategic on where's your spend, what you need to do, and how the energy needs to go. That's just for you. B, you can get clear on your own goals, and you might find that actually your partner, your husband or wife, or that someone else is not the person who's going to help you get there. They're not. They might help you in other ways, but you might need different people in your life. And I hope that's a little bit freeing, that this doesn't have to be the only person to help you achieve all of your dreams. That is too much pressure on a marriage. They can be your support. You can ask them for specific things, but they can't be the whole thing. But if you get clear on where you want to go, what you're trying to do, I've heard too across the research that bringing that back into the conversation, right? Like that is a way to start. Here's where I want to go. How do we help me get there? Here's what I need from you. Here's what I need from our finances. Here's what I need to do what I'm trying to do. Start the conversation from the dream and bring it back in. You can do the mental load audit by yourself. Start the conversation from the dream. And for those of you for whom everything is so heavy right now, you cannot drop, you cannot do less because the stakes are too high. You need the rest and relaxation in there. You need to figure out when and where you can outsource, delegate, or drop. If you cannot, then figure out how to support yourself so that you are getting rest, relaxation, and recovery. Because your mental load energy is not finite. I keep doing that wrong. Your mental load energy is not infinite, it is finite, and it is precious. So you need to start spending it strategically. Now, this is all in the book. Don't panic. This is all in the book. It's all there as worksheets. It's all there across the chapters. If you're listening to the audiobook, it's all there in an online appendix. This is all there. If you want to use it, if you want to refer back to it, it exists. And if it just helps you to start thinking about it in this way, that is such a success for me. That makes me feel like, what a gift that these ideas can go into the world and help people to lighten their mental load. So if you are either in the book and trying it, or you've listened to this podcast and you've had an aha moment as you start to move through the world with greater awareness, can you let me know on Instagram, on TikTok, on my email, through my website, anywhere? I get it all. I do receive everything you send to me. So if it works, let me know. If it's impacting you, let me know. I would love to hear. So that's how you conduct a mental load audit. I hope it helps. As per always, thank you for listening to MissPerceived, where you don't need a PhD, you just get to come hang out with me. And I love you so very much. I hope you have the most wonderful week. And I am sending you love, sunshine, healing, and lightness. Because let's get our mental loads a little bit lighter, and then let's change the world. I want us all to change the world. Let's do it together. Okay. Mwah.
We are so lucky and grateful that this series is being supported by the Melbourne Public Humanities Initiative at the University of Melbourne.